Quit or commit, my darlings. Quit or commit. Sometimes quitting is a strategy, and sometimes quitting is the bravest thing that you could do, walking away with dignity. Not everything that ends is wasted. So today, man, number one, we're going to explore that quiet ache of feeling stuck. And then we're going to explore the dip, and we're going to use the works of Seth Godin. And he talks about the dip and figuring out, are you in a dip, and do you need to push through and fight for it, or are you in a cul-de-sac and have you hit a dead end, and is it in actual fact time to quit? And there's some interesting ideas there to explore. And then number three, we're going to have a look at strategic quitting and what recalibration can give you. And then stay with me, because number four, the fourth thing, I've quit something. Oh no, it's not YouTube. Oh no, I'm just getting started. I've quit something, and I'm going to give it some closure, and I'm going to honor it, and I invite you along to join me. I think it's going to be quite special. So, I'm Michelle Dupree, and welcome. We together are stepping in to our next glorious act. The weight of what's unfinished. Just a gentle bedtime exploration of what it feels like when you are exploring that ache of feeling stuck. You know, for the greater part of last year, I was trying to find meaning and purpose in two things. The first one was writing that terrible book on pastoral care. I mentioned it in a previous video, and I just spent more time not writing the book than writing the book. It felt like hell, like purgatory. It was a terrible experience. And then the other pursuit, the other undertaking, was learning Latin for some reason. I made such a song and dance about it, and I told everybody I'm studying Latin. I don't know, it's an ego thing. I don't quite know my motivation. And then come Christmas, you know, that period between Christmas and New Year, where I found this calling, where I found this journey, this creative journey. I didn't quite know what was in store for me, but I did know that I needed to carve some time out of my life to make space for it. One of the things that bothered me the most was just, what would people think? What would people say? There was definitely a concern for that. I was afraid of being seen as flaky. Weird, huh? So where in your life are you feeling stuck or drained? What are you holding on to? Because it's easier to just sort of vaguely faff around it than quitting. What do you believe would happen if you quit? Is there something you're holding on to out of some sense of guilt or fear of being judged? The weight of what's unfinished. It's really worth reflecting on. Good morning. Welcome to my funky little shed. I think we're going to be spending more time here as the summer approaches. But without further ado, let's jump in and see what Seth Godin has to say on the topic from his wonderful book, The Dip. He says, the dip, the long slog between starting and mastery. And I explored that in a previous video. What was it called? Why Most People Quit and How to Push Through, where I had a look at that idea of conscious incompetence, you embarking on a journey and you arrive at that place of knowing that you don't know. And it's a really dangerous place from a too soon quitting point of view, because the dip can feel like failure, and we tell ourselves, I can't do this, I can't do it, and we forget to add the yet at the end. I can't do it yet. And we can perhaps walk away a little bit too soon. So Seth Godin says here on page 19, Important note, successful people don't just ride out the dip. They don't just buckle down and survive it. No, they lean into the dip. They push harder, changing the rules as they go. Just because you know you're in the dip doesn't mean you have to live happily with it. Dips don't last quite as long when you whittle at them. Yeah, you chisel away, man. You're at that coal face and you just one hammer blow at a time, one pick of that, one swing of that chisel pick. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then he talks about the cul-de-sac, French for dead end. He says it is so simple, it doesn't even need a chart. It's a situation where you work and you work and you work and nothing much changes. It doesn't get a lot better and it doesn't get a lot worse. It just is. And if you find yourself here, this is where you need to do a very honest appraisal. You need to sit down and you need to ask yourself some honest questions. Why you are not wanting to quit? Are you too proud? Sit down and ask yourself honestly, and you'll figure out the answers so fast your hair will curl, as Jordan Peterson says. What's your reason for sticking with it? This is where we make some difficult decisions, but necessary decisions, because we don't want to be stuck in that loopy, cycly, round and round place where we're not applying ourselves and we're not quitting. And we need to figure out, is there even a dip that we can navigate our way through? Interesting. Lots to think about there. Page 64. Never quit. What a spectacularly piece of bad advice. And he goes on to say, I think the advice giver meant to say, never quit something with great long-term potential just because you can't deal with the stress of the moment. Now that's good advice. What Godin doesn't talk about, though, and I think it's so important, and that is the idea of closure. If you do decide to put something down because it's not serving you, it's not in alignment with your purpose, it's not going to actualize anything meaningful in your life, we need to honor it. We need to extract the learning from it and put it down with dignity. But more on that shortly. Oh, we're going to do something wonderful together. Anyway, it's good to have you in the garden shed, huh? I think this is a good place to be. It's a good place to hang out. And we're hearing the noisy bikes. People are out and about today. There's some sort of event in the hills and people are adventuring. How cool is that? So part 3, what clever strategic quitting can give you? Quitting Latin gave me time and energy and space. Quitting that book gave me time, for sure, even though it was time that I was often spending not doing it, the time I was avoiding it but thinking about it. And it gave me a release. I made some journal notes here, and I said to myself when I was thinking about this, I was imprisoned by insecurity. What will people think of me? But in truth, nobody is thinking about me, which is actually quite a liberating thought in itself. I think it's more important these days, what would I think of myself? What do I think of myself? That's actually what really matters. And that creative energy that I was trying to expend on that project has been released to become this work, this channel, this message. So yeah, I don't know, I'm not going to say that I've quit. I'm going to say that I've recalibrated. I prefer that term. And as for the opinions of others, that's not my job to manage. My job is to be the best me that I can be with all that I've been gifted with. Add some hard work to that and make some sort of difference in this world. Hold a loving space of healing, perhaps, to help others find their way as I'm finding mine, help people to step into their next glorious act. So what have you quit in the past that's turned out to be a gift? What are you doing now that feels aligned and energizing, or what do you want to do? What calls you to action so that you can feel more aligned with your true purpose? And how do you want to feel as you step into your next chapter? I still don't like the word quitting. Yeah, I'm calling it recalibration. I ain't no quitter. No, I'm a strategic quitter. Anyway, whatever. It's about putting things down that are no longer serving us. And now we are off to do something quite lovely. A friend of mine has dropped off a key this morning to a very special place. And I have something I need to put closure to, something I need to honor. Right, come, let's go. Let's do this. I started to study Latin because I wanted to pray in Latin. I don't even really know why it became so important to me. It just did. The initial goal was to travel up to the island of Iona and recite the Lord's Prayer there in Latin with no notes. Why Latin? People would ask. I think perhaps I was trying to exorcise my own demons, the demons of regret, of loss, of past pain and past shame. And here I am. It's not the island of Iona, that's a few hours' drive and 2 ferry trips away. I'm here in a little village church in the middle of nowhere. It's more than good enough. I'm fulfilling a small promise to myself, to recite the Lord's Prayer in Latin, not as an achievement, but as a thank you for what was, for what is, and for what's coming. And I forgive myself for needing notes. Pater Noster, Pater Noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris. Et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos malo. Amen. In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. And now I can put this down. I don't go to church ever. I don't attend church. And yet, what a beautiful gift that was, a beautiful, transformative moment. And I walked home with the sun on my shoulders, feeling a deep and profound sense of gratitude for all that I have and for all that is unfolding before me. Remember, you are not lost. You are choosing. You are recalibrating. When something no longer fits, you don't need permission to let it go. Honor it, thank it, and take the next brave step forward. Your new life won't come from forcing the old one to work. It comes from making space. You are not failing. You are becoming. And if you need a little support while thinking through what your next step needs to be, if you just scroll down, you can access some journal prompts that can help you think this through and find your way forward. Remember, you're enough exactly as you are. You fit in. You belong. There's a space in this world for you. And you are not alone. We fail when we get distracted by tasks we don't have the guts to quit. We succeed when we are the best in the world at what we do. We succeed when we do something remarkable. And I invite you to take the next glorious step. See you next time. Bye-bye.